Okay, good morning everyone. Shalom Aleichem. Agutiyar Gemara Chasima Tova. We're continuing in Mishna Daf Hashavua. We're up to Siman Kuf Daled Siv Zayin. Einoi Poisik Loi LaKadosh V'Loi LaKdusha. In middle of Shemone Esrei, you do not stop, not for Kaddish, not to answer Ameni Hishmei Rabbah, and not for Kedusha. Elo Yishtaik, you are silent. Now, V'yichavin l'masha amar shel tzibur, you should have kavanah for what the shel tzibur says. V'yihei ka'ina will be like you yourself answered it. Haya oimed b'tfila k'ru l'sefer Torah and a posek. If you're a middle Shemone Esrei and they called you for an aliyah, you don't stop. Many people are aware that you stop to listen to Kedusha for Kadosh, 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 and for Baruch Kavod. But many are not aware that Ameni Hishmei Rabbah is more important. And one would stop for Ameni Hishmei Rabbah. Ameni Hishmei Rabbah is more important than Kadosh, Kadosh, and Baruch Kavod. It says Berura, Ameni Hishmei Rabbah wa din leBaruchu. The same thing would be for Baruchu. Also, when the Shel Tzibur gets to Moedim, the Shulchan Aruch writes later on that you need to bow so that it doesn't look like you're a kaifar. During Birchas Kaihanim, Rav Moshe writes in the Igros Moshe and Rav Shlomo Zalman, you also need to stop and listen. Rav Shlomo Zalman says you need to listen from the beginning of the bracha, the Kaihanim Asher Kedeshanu. Not sure why you have to hear that. That's not your bracha, it's their bracha. But Rabbi Yashiv says, Rav Tzvi Pasach Frank says, no, you don't have to stop for that, only for the Yivarechacha itself. I would assume Rav Moshe would also agree to that. Rav Moshe says that answering Amen to the brachas of the Kaihanim, Yivarecha, Yair, Nisa, is a Dairaisa. Answering Amen to the bracha of the Kaihanim of Asher Kedushan B'Kedushas Jahan is not a Dairaisa. What about Kriyas HaTorah Mil Shemone Esrei? Rav Chaim Kanievsky says it's mutter to listen. The Chazon Ish himself would be mafsik in middle Shemone Esrei to listen. The Chazon Ish said if you listen to Kriyas HaTorah while you're in the middle of davening, you're yotzei. But don't do it l'charchila.
What's there to listen or l'chuyev? Are you supposed to stop?
The Reb Chaim says the Chazon Ish would stop, and the Rav Sternberg says that the Chazon Ish said, you're yotzei, but you shouldn't do it l'charchila. So I don't know if that's consistent with what Reb Chaim Kanievsky says, that the Chazon Ish himself would do it.
Also, do you have a problem of the game of Mor's Kula during you're listening to a long aliyah on a Monday or Thursday?
Yeah, the only thing is that might not be considered oinus. That might not be an oinus. It's not a robber, and it's not a makam. In other words, it's a choice. So it doesn't necessarily have the dinam of shah kidei ligmar's kula. Okay, what about havdalah in middle of Shemone Esrei? The Har Tzvi says l'charchila you shouldn't be stopped to listen, and Rav Shlomo Zalman says you could stop possibly in between brachos. And if you hear Kiddush in the middle of Tefillah, the Das Torah says it could be your Yotzei. What if you just started Hashem Sefasai Tiftach? Also, you can no longer be mafsik to answer. When you stop to listen to Baruch Hu, you should also stop to hear the Tzibur say Baruch Hashem HaBaruch Le'elam Ba'ed. Also, to hear Baruch Hu of someone who's Oila L'Torah, Reb Chaim Kanievsky says you should be mafsik during your tefillah. Okay, weiter. Until Yisbarach. Fine. V'yeh ka'ina le'inyan sheyetz b'zayidei chiyav kadosh u'kedusha. It will be considered like you answered regarding that you're yotzei the chiyav of kadosh and kedusha. Namely, you have a chiyav to answer kadosh and kedusha. So if you already heard Kaddish or Kedusha, or you're going to hear it after, Reb Chaim Kanievsky says, you're still required to stop and listen. What if stopping to listen will disturb your kavanah? Kaf HaChaim says don't stop. Now, let's say I can't hear the chazan say Kadosh Kadosh, but I could hear the people say Kadosh Kadosh Kadosh. I can't hear the chazan say Amen Yishmera, but I could hear people. No, not good enough. The people who are answering don't have in mind to be Moitziyu. Only the chazan has in mind to be Yotziyu. So you need to be standing close enough to the chazan to be able to answer them. What about I want to answer Dvarim Shebekdusha in the bracha of Shema Koleinu? If I'm allowed to ask, Ribbon Shalom, I want to win the lottery today, why can't I say Amen Yehishmei Rabbah? So Rabbi Yitzchak Elchanan, it brought in the Shal Shivat Tzitz Yazer, says, no, you're only allowed to daven for your needs. Rabbi Yosef explains, whatever you're moisiv to the bakasha, I'm not sure what they're bringing from Rabbi Yasha, but bottom line is you can't be mafsek to answer Dvarim Shebekdusha in Shema Koleinu. Okay, it's considered ka'oina, and you're yotzi your chiyuv and kamakam leichashav hefsek. It's not considered a hefsek. Einoi paisek ve'im pasak bazeh, and if you stopped in this, meaning, this is going on. You're not poisik for kaddish or kedusha. If you did interrupt, v'chein lekaddish kedusha. What's bazeh? Einoi poisik loy lekaddish v'loy lekedusha. V'im pasik bazeh v'chein lekaddish kedusha dina kesach b'mezid. It's like talking b'mezid, meaning stopping to answer Dvarim Shebekdusha like talking b'mezid. Uladas ha-poiskim desham choyzel aroish. According to the poiskim there, that you have to go back to the beginning. Gam bazeh choyzel aroish. You got to go back to the beginning. Meaning, if you answer Kaddish Kedusha, you might have to start davening Shemone Esrei again. Achim savar shemutar hafsik, but those who say you could be mafsik have a kashoygeg. It's like shoygeg ve'eno choyzel aroish. You don't go back to the beginning. V'chanal v'im karu l'sefer Torah. If they called you up to the Sefer Torah, and you're after Shemone, so you didn't yet start Lekana, you could stop. You should stop and go up. You should be careful to say Yuleratzain first. Sivches Achar Shasiyim Shemone Esrei Brachos Kaidem Lekana Yachal Anas Kedusha v'Kaddish U'Baruchu. After you answered Shemone Esrei, after you finish Shemone Esrei, before Elokai Netzar, you can answer Kaddish, Kedusha, Kaddish, and Baruch Hu. Says the Mishna Berura, Achar Shasiyim, Hainu Shamar Gam Kein Yilaratzin Kodim Elokai Netzar. That is, if you said Yilaratzin before Elokai Netzar, Dem Loi Kein Asal Hafsik, Kamay Shekasa B'Simin Kuf Chaf Beis. So the Mechaber is of the opinion that after you finish Shemone Esrei, you can answer Dvarim Shebekdusha. That is, if you said Yuleratzain. This is all according to the Shulchan Aruch later on, but according to the Ramah, you're allowed to be mafsek even before Yuleratzain. That's why the Mishna Berura there writes that if you don't have time, you can answer Dvarim Shebekdusha even before Yuleratzain. Okay, let's see Siman Kuf Hey. Din hamispal sheit tfilos. Din of someone who davens two prayers. U'ba'isef echad. Hamispal sheit tfilos zu achar zu. One who davens two tfilos one after another. Let's say they have to make up a previous tefillah, or they're davening mincha marav back to back. Tzarich lahamtin bein zu lazu k'dei hilach arba amos. You need to wait the amount of time it takes to walk 4 amos. K'dei shetehedatoi miyusheves l'spala b'lashon tchina. So that your mind will be settled to daven in a supplicative manner. You can't just daven two Shemone Esreis, one immediately right after the other. You need to wait kidei hilach arba amos, so that your mind could be settled to daven b'lashon tchina, as we saw before in Siman Tzadi Ches, that if you don't daven b'lashon tachanunim, there are opinions that you're not yotzei. The Bir Halacha brought many opinions that if you don't daven derech tachanunim, you have to daven again. Shtei tefillas, kagon shachris u'musaf. The example the Mishnah Berura gives shachris u'musaf, oisha shachach v'lo yispalel. Let's say you forgot and you didn't daven, v'tzarech la'ashlima, b'zman tefillah shal achrea, and you have to make it up in the next tefillah, u'mispalel shtayim. V'yinei lefi ma she'yivar b'siman kuf ches Mishnah Berura, based on what we explained in Siman kuf ches in the Mishnah Berura, the bein shashachach arvis u'mispalel shachris shtayim lahashlama. Whether you're davening, you forgot Marav and you're davening Shachris twice. We say that if you forgot Marav and you're davening Shachris twice, or you forgot Shachris davening Mincha twice, you need to say Ashrei in between. Lo Yitzur din zeh. This din is not possible because you're definitely saying Ashrei. I would say Bizman Hazeh, it is possible, so that many people have mastered the ability to say Ashrei in less time than it takes. But if you're saying Ashrei anyway, then it's sort of academic because you'll definitely have this amount of time. Unless you forgot Mincha, you're davening Marav twice. So if you're davening Marav twice, you will not say Ashrei between your Marav and making up your Mincha. Why do you not, let's see, why would you not say Ashrei then? That we don't say Ashrei by Marav, even if it's a Tashlumin for Mincha. Okay. Lahamtin, you have to wait this amount of time. This amount of time is after you undo your feet. It's not stam, you have to wait kedei hulach arba amis. It's you have to wait this amount of time after your akar raglav. Meaning, the amount of time it takes to take the 3 steps back and say oisa shalom is not mitzdarv to the shir because you're still davening. But if someone's davening behind you, and because of that you can't take 3 steps back, then the time does count. Bain, between the twilis, kasa b'sefer shulchan shomer v'chenim siyam Shemone Esrei. Likewise, if you finish Shemone Esrei, av shadayin lo yakar raglav, even if you were not akar your feet, v'nizkar shata, and you remembered you made a mistake, v'tzarach lachzor l'spalel, Yamtin Kazel. Let's say like this. You finished Shemone Esrei, and you were in Oikar Raglav. And then you remembered you made a mistake, even though you waited that amount of time, but you have to wait from the time you realize you made your mistake. What if you realize in the middle of the Shemone Esrei you made a mistake, you forgot HaMelech HaKadosh, and you have to start again? Yeah, you see that a lot these days. You see people like, after they do Slach Lanu, all of a sudden they take, they start from the beginning. Do you have to wait Kedei Hilach Arba Amos? No, because you only have to wait Kedei Hilach Arba Amos between 2 valid Shemone Esreis. The first one is invalid. Kedei Hilach Afilu Inoroy Tzalach Salamakoymai. Let's say the second Shemone Esrei I'm not going to make in my place. I'm going to do it where I took the 3 steps back. So do I still have to wait Arba Amos? No, Elam Espalo Shenis Makom Sha'oimed Sham. I'm going to, even if I don't want to go back to my Makam, but I'm going to daven a second time where I'm standing when I took the 3 steps back. Avalachsor L'Makoymai, but to go back to the place, Afilu Einoretz L'Espalo Shenis, even if I don't want to daven again, Sarach Lahamtin, I have to wait. Kamay Shukasa B'Simin Kuf Chaf Gimel. So, even if you don't want to go back to your spot, you want to daven in the second place, you have to wait. But before you go back to your place, even if you don't want to daven again, then you also have to wait Kedei Hilach Arba Amis. Basically, there's a halacha to take the 3 steps back to your place, you have to wait kidei hilech arba amis. So the question is, so what's this halacha adding? You have to wait for kidei hilech arba amis anyway. The answer is, what it's adding is, if you don't want to go back to your place and you want to daven again, you still have to wait kidei hilech arba amis. Okay, Rabbi say we'll hold it over here. I wish everyone a great day. Kol tov.
Recording stopped.